Hello everyone, it is April and today I have a squeaky video because Winnie is here hanging out on the floor chewing on her little fox friend. Today I'm here to chat with you. Today I have another book haul. Will I ever stop buying books and going to the thrift store? Probably not. I have also been luckily sent some books by some publishers, and this video is very excitingly sponsored by Book of the Month. As you guys know, I have been working with Book of the Month a little bit this year, and they reached out and asked if I wanted to work with them again in June. I said yes, because until they come to Canada and I can buy the subscription myself, I jump at the chance every time because I think it's so much fun. The idea of getting books in the mail like that, I like it. Okay, Barry just rescued me from Winnie because she was going to just squeak that fox until, I don't know, until I was finished filming and went back downstairs. In any case, I was telling you about Book of the Month. What is great about Book of the Month is that you get to select from, I think, usually 6 or 7 choices every month, and they're very varied. There's always a historical fiction, there's always a thriller, and you can skip a month if you don't really like the selections for that month. So it's very, very handy in that way. And they're hardcovers. They have also just started a podcast, which is really fun. It's called Virtual Book Tour, and what I like about it is, first of all, it's in front of an audience, like a live audience, which is different for podcasts. I love that idea. And essentially 2 people from the editorial team of Book of the Month interview authors that they have picked in the past. So for example, the latest episode, they're interviewing Isabel Canais. Am I saying that wrong? I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. She is the author of The Hacienda, which, as you know, I am so excited about. This is like a horror gothic vibe. So anyway, they interview her and they also kind of ask her about how she's gone from writing very different works of fiction to this gothic-y book, which I'm like, it must be on my summer TBR 100%. So if you are interested in Book of the Month, you can get your first book for $9.99 using the code SUMMER. And now I'm going to share with you 2 books that are from the June selection that they sent me that I am very much looking forward to. The first book in particular was like one of my most anticipated books of the entire year. So knowing that this is in my hands now, I could not be more excited. This is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. So we meet Paris, who is very much in the worst situation of her life. We meet her covered in blood on the bathroom floor. Her husband is in the bathtub, dead, having been, I think, stabbed. Obviously, she's going to be arrested. All eyes are going to go to her for this murder. But that's not the thing that she's most concerned about, because there's something in her past that she's tried to run away from for years. There is another person named Ruby Rees, who 25 years earlier was convicted of having killed someone in a very similar fashion as this dead celebrity husband in the bathtub. She got out a little early from prison and is planning to ruin Paris. And I want to find out what happens. Jennifer Hillier is a fantastic writer. I read Little Secrets by her a couple of years ago and just loved it. She has a huge backlist too. So anyway, but this is the next one that I'll be reading from her. Absolutely. Let's read the first line, shall we? Part 1, Chapter 1. There's a time and a place for erect nipples. What? What? Okay, let's start it again because I was not expecting that. There's a time and a place for erect nipples, but the back of a Seattle police car definitely isn't it. Okay, I love that. That is the strangest first line the most risque first line. I liked it. 5 stars. We're starting off well, guys. And the other book that Book of the Month sent me is another thriller that I think sounds like a lot of fun. This is The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark, and this follows a con woman. She goes by many names, and when she walks alongside you, she seems to fit right in with your life. However, she will most likely ruin your life. And no one knows that better than Kat Roberts, excuse me. She's waited 10 years for the woman who upended her life, and she wants to bring her down and expose her. And as these two women grow closer, Kat starts to rethink things and second guess herself. And maybe this woman, this con woman, is working against her again. It sounds like fun. So, okay, let's read the first line of The Lies I Tell. Kat, present June. She stands across the room from me in a small cluster of donors, talking and laughing. Not a 5-star first line, still excited for it. I squealed with joy when I opened this package containing this book. This is People Person by Candace Carty-Williams. This is the author of Queenie, which, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know how much I adore Queenie. Such a vulnerable, just amazing book. And everyone is saying that this book is just as good as Queenie, different, but just as good. This is coming out in September, but I have it early. I feel very lucky. So thank you to the people of Simon & Schuster for sending this my way. I'm over the moon, truly over the moon. This follows a woman named Dimple Pennington. She is 30 years old and she knows of her half-siblings. Her father has had multiple children with many women, and she knows of them, but she doesn't really know these siblings until they come crashing into her life again throughout the course of this book. And I just think that premise sounds incredible. And apparently, also the father interjects himself into their lives as well. And I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. But I know it's going to be wonderful because it's Candace Carty-Williams. Okay, let's read the first line of this incredible book. I already know it's going to be good. Chapter 1. Their father, Cyril Pennington, was not a discriminatory man. Okay, I wouldn't say that that's a 5-star first line, but yes, and yay, and hooray. The next book is Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner. This was sent to me by St. Martin's Press, and this sounds quite lovely. I read the Jane Austen Society, felt just okay about it if I'm being honest, but this book sounds like right up my street. This is about 3 women, I think in 1950, and they are all working at Bloomsbury Books, which is a quiet, dusty, tradition-bound London bookstore. Over the course of the history of the store, which I think goes back 100 years, it's been very traditional and run by men, but all of a sudden these 3 women are working there, and I think really want to change things for the better. I think this is going to be a feminist tale, which is great. And this came in such lovely packaging. There was like a tea that was sent with it, and a little bookmark, which I will absolutely use when I read this. It sounds really, really lovely. So let us read the first line of Bloomsbury Girls. Ooh, there's even like, I like this. There's again like a little map, like an architectural design of the actual building itself. Does that mean that it existed? I don't know. Anyway, in any case, let's read the prologue. Cambridge, England, December 19th, 1949. Evie Stone sat alone in her tiny bedsitter at the north end of Castle Street, as far from the colleges as a student could live, and still being and still be keeping term at Cambridge. Okay, not a 5-star first line, but it really does sound quite lovely and like a good spring summer read. I've got another book that I absolutely squealed while opening the package. I didn't know if this was coming or not. This is It Girl by Ruth Ware. I really do enjoy Ruth Ware's writing. I just know that I'm going to be whisked away. It's going to be a mystery, more than a thriller, I would say. She writes more on that mystery side of things. And I usually really enjoy her stuff, especially The Turn of the Key. Oh my goodness. If you haven't read that yet, oh, you should do it. And in this book, the main character's name is April. Unfortunately, I believe she is murdered. So not starting out well for people named April in her books. So we meet April, who was the ultimate it girl at Oxford. She had a small circle of friends, which included Hannah Jones, Will, Hugh, Ryan, and Emily. They were all very close, fast friends. By the end of the second term, April has been murdered. Now we flash forward 10 years later. The friends are still kind of in touch, but the man convicted of having killed April, who went to prison, has now died in prison. And a journalist has approached Hannah to say, you know what, looks like he was actually innocent and was needlessly put into prison. And so, of course, the past erupts and everything that they thought was true turns out to be a lie. And we follow Hannah trying to figure out what actually happened to April. It sounds so good. Ugh, let's read the first line. Before. Afterwards, it was the door she would remember. I don't know. I don't think that's a 5-star first line, but still very exciting to have this in my hands. Ugh. All right, last book sent by publishers, and then I'm going to go into a big old book haul of my own that I went to a Value Village, and you know what happens when I do that. Okay, but the last book that was sent to me by a publisher was Haven by Emma Donoghue. This is coming out in August, end of August, the August 23rd. And this is a very different kind of book for Emma to write. I'm always surprised by what she picks for her subject matter, because it's one book is never like the other. So this is about 3 men, and it takes place in 7th century Ireland. We follow a scholar priest named Art, who has a dream that God has told him to leave the sinful world behind. He gets into a boat with 2 other monks and rows down the River Shannon in search of an isolated spot in which to found a monastery. And what will happen to them along the way, that is what we'll find out in this book. She has beautiful writing. Oh my goodness. I really, really appreciate her. So let's read the first line of Haven. Ooh, the writing is very faint. Can you see that? Like maybe it's just me. I find the writing to be very faint. But anyway, monastery. Trian's stomach growls. Okay, not at all a 5-star first line, but I love her writing. She is in part Canadian. Like she's Irish, but also Canadian now because she lives here. So I'm going to claim her for myself. I'm going to claim her for Canada. Very excited about her new book. Okay, gonna just bring this little stack of books closer to me, and we'll go through the other books that I picked up at a Value Village. You guys know I have zero restraint. It had been a little while since I'd gone to a Value Village, and so as a result, I bought all of the books. Oh my goodness, this dress. First of all, Barry says that I look like a farmer's daughter in this dress, which I don't know how I feel about that. So I picked up The Leavers by Lisa Coe, and it sounds very heartbreaking, like incredibly heartbreaking. This follows a young boy named Deming. His Chinese mother, Polly, goes to her job at a nail salon and promptly vanishes. She never comes home. No one can find her. Now, he's only 11 years old, and he ends up being put into foster care. Two well-meaning white professors take him in, and they rename him Daniel, which, first of all, sounds like not a good idea to do that. It follows his own life, and then it also follows what happened to Polly. So we read from his perspective and her perspective, and it sounds incredible. Listen to what Ann Patchett has to say about it, okay? There was a time I would have called Lisa Coe's novel beautifully written, ambitious and moving, and all of that is true. But it's more than that now. If you want to understand a forgotten and essential part of the world we live in, The Leavers is required reading. I adore Ann Patchett. I so love her writing. So now I have to read this. I must read this. Okay, let's read the first line. Another boy, another planet. Chapter 1. The day before Deming saw his mother for the last time, she surprised him at school. Oh, that's already sad. I'm already sad. Okay, so like 4-star first line. Kind of 5-star because I already have the feels. We're giving it a 5-star. Okay. The next book just sounded like so much fun. So we've got another thriller for you. And it just sounded like so much fun. And I've never really heard of it. This is Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Kurian. This is about a female psychopath. Just straight away, check, ding, I'm in. I needed to get this. And this is about Chloe. She's a freshman honor student at a DC-based college, and she's a psychopath. She, along with 7 other students, are part of an unusual clinical study for psychopaths that tracks their moods and movements. Now, one of the students that are part of the study is found dead. And Chloe suddenly goes from being hunter to prey. But that's just such a good synopsis, such a good plot. For me, at least. I just think that sounds like so much fun. Okay, let's read the first line. It says, day 60. As soon as the door to my new dorm room closed, I went to the window, scanning across the quad for him. Ooh, who's him? Not a 5-star first line, but I think this sounds like so much fun. Have you guys read this or even heard of this? Because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I do have a historical fiction book for you that I was very happy to see at the Value Village. This is the book Woman of Troublesome Creek. I've heard very good things about this. By Kim Michelle Richardson. It looks like I need to do a little bit of cleaning. Someone like dropped some coffee or something on it. That's okay. Coffee is welcome. This is another book about the Packhorse Library Project, which is a subject matter in history that I have read about before. And I'm trying to remember offhand what the other book was called. I'm blanking. Someone is going to tell me, and it's something that I love. Oh, The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. There you go. I got it. So I find that whole concept fascinating, where Eleanor Roosevelt really was trying to get the rural areas of the United States more learned. She created a literacy program called the Packhorse Library Project, and women, for the most part, joined and would ride on horseback delivering books. And in this book, we meet Blewett, who is the last of the Kentucky Blues, who are real-life people born with blue skin in the dusty hills of Troublesome Creek. And it is about her experience joining this library program, and it just sounds quite interesting to me. So let's read the first line. Okay, Kentucky, 1936. The librarian and her mule spotted it at the same time. I like that, but like it's intriguing and it brings you in. What is that it? But there's not that little sucker punch or something. So I wouldn't say that that's a 5-star first line, but so happy that I found that at Value Village. Next one, I don't know. This is such a hyped book, like so hyped. Might be the most hyped book I've heard of in a while. It's Verity by Colleen Hoover. I never thought I'd be someone who would pick up a Colleen Hoover. And that, I don't know why. There's literally no reason that I would not want to pick up Colleen Hoover, although I think she writes a lot of romance. So that's a huge reason that I would not want to read her. In any case, this is meant to be a thriller with like an insane twist of an ending. Now, sometimes when people love an ending like that and it's like so twisty, never saw it coming, sometimes those endings piss me off, if I'm being honest. I have been angry about some endings that people have loved. So I don't know what's going to happen to me here. This book follows Lowen Ashley, who is a struggling writer. She meets a man named Jeremy Crawford, and he is the husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford. She has written multiple books that have had enormous success. She's struggled to continue writing those books. She was unable to finish them, and so he has hired Lowen to come to his home and write the rest of the books in, I don't know if it's in a series or what. So she arrives at the house and she starts to work. She's going through a bunch of paperwork, and she stumbles upon an autobiography written by Verity that no one was ever meant to read. And as she starts reading it, it's just filled with all of these bone-chilling admissions of guilt, it sounds like. She at first decides to keep this book hidden from Jeremy because she's kind of trying to protect him. He's apparently a grieving father. I don't know why. What happened to his children or child? But as they get closer, she starts to feel guilty about holding this stuff back from him. Sounds interesting. I feel like there could be some romance in there, and that would make me puke. Let's read the first line. I hear the crack of his skull before the spattering of blood reaches me. Ooh, I like that first line. I don't mind that. I don't mind that as first line. We'll see what happens. This might be a good summer read though, right? The next book, I believe, is the latest in the Dublin Murder Squad series written by Tana French. This is The Trespasser. I saw it at the Value Village and I had to pick it up. I almost don't want to look at the blurb. I know that you can pick up this series anywhere because every single book in the series follows a different detective on the Dublin Murder Squad, and that's great. However, I'm reading them in chronological order for a reason. And I'm slightly terrified to skip ahead because I don't want anything to be ruined because I'm loving them so much. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to read the blurb. I will read the first line. I'm going to take a chance and read the first line. Oh, Lord, help me. Okay, prologue. First line. My mama used to tell me stories about my da. It's not a 5-star first line. I'm so excited. Anything by Tana French now, like one of my all-time favorite authors now. So wonderful. Last but not least is a book that I started out the year with that has become one of my favorite books by one of my new favorite authors, and that is A Single Thread by Tracy Chevalier. This book is historical fiction, but it's got such mystery in it and moments of pure panic and fear that I found myself like holding my breath listening to this. I did listen to this on audio and I so highly recommend this. This takes place just after the Great War. We follow Violet, who I think had a fiance, but that man died at war. And so she's single, and she's one of many single women. Many men died at during the First World War, and a lot of women were left without prospects of marrying. And she is left alone. She lives alone. She does take care of her mother a lot, And she has hobbies of her own, one of which is creating embroidery at a cathedral. And so she'll go there and meet with other women and embroider pillows and cushions and that kind of thing for the cathedral. And she also does work as well. And it is about the people that she meets at this place, at this cathedral, and the dangers of being alone at this time, and the prospects of being alone at this time. I loved it so much, so much. It was so good. I will read the first line for you. I don't remember it anymore because it was the first book I read in 2022. Shh. Okay, so not a 5-star first line, but I'm telling you, if you haven't read this, oh my God, go and read it. It's so good. All right, those were all of the books that I wanted to share with you today. Such a good haul. The long video. I hope that you did enjoy it. I didn't want to hold back books just because it was going to be a long video, so I hope you don't mind. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. I would love to know your thoughts, and I will talk with you very soon. Bye!